Hello and welcome to Quid or Continue, the video games podcast that pokes a finger in the eye of the games that waste your time. I, as ever, am Mike Plant, and with me are Andrew Loughlin.
Hello.
And Jack Turner.
Hey.
Now with added birds.
Now with added birds.
Oh, I've got some ambient bird tweeting in the background.
Birds have come home to roost.
It sounds like they're saying, you're shit.
We, as ever, are hoping to become, again, a weekly podcast where we review one game, and one game only, kind of in the style of a book club. And the game we are going to chat about in depth this week is Inside by Playdead Studios, their kind of sequel of a sort to Limbo. So we will introduce the game, we will give you what we like and don't like so much about it, and then at the end there will be a quit or continue, and if it's a quit then you can probably steer clear of it, and if it's a continue then it goes off with all the brilliant games that we've called continues, like probably Wolfenstein and other crap games like that. I don't know.
What else have we? Uncharted 4.
Uncharted 4 was the most recent one. Yeah.
Who was saying that Wolfenstein made someone's top 10 recently?
It was a Game Over Greggy show thingy. It was in his top 10 PS4 games so far.
I think that game's alright. I don't know what your problem is, but it's fine.
I didn't think it was so
good. It's okay, but it's not like Game of the Year.
Not to you, but to Greg Wood, it was.
It was in what's he called? Colin Moriarty's one.
Greg Wood with Lovejoy.
So anyway, I should say you can also find us on the Tinternet, www.quitorcontinue.com. You can tweet us at @quitorcontinue. And you can just Google Quit or Continue to find our YouTube page, Facebook page, blah, 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 Twitter. So, without further ado, Inside.
Yes.
Who wants to introduce this? Go on, Jack. You've got something to say.
I'll do it. So, this is by the studio called Playdead, who were quite big in the indie world. So, they kind of hit the big time with Limbo, which is a game that's been ported to pretty much every platform
even
ever.
iPhone and Android.
Yeah, I think I've played through it on 4 different platforms, at least. I'm going to finish it on my toaster as well.
Yeah.
Smart toaster. So what was Limbo? Limbo was a sort of stylish 2D platformer, and I feel like it was one of those early indie platformers, because now the internet is awash with them, but back when that came out I feel like it
rode the wave of that Xbox game, what was it, the
Xbox Live Arcade.
The Summer of Arcade though, wasn't it? It was maybe on the second Summer of Arcade run, I think.
So that was the same sort of time period as Braid, another kind of
just after Braid, maybe a
year
year after Braid or something like that, a couple of years.
So I remember the development time for In Limbo was really long, because I saw screenshots of a little silhouette of a boy on a cog with a spider next to him, like years and years and years ago.
That's just what you usually look at.
That's just my dreams.
Yeah.
But
it's a pretty tiny studio, isn't it? It's Denmark. They're in Copenhagen, aren't they? And it's like just two. It was just two dudes.
That was really impressive research.
Definitely
for the listeners at home, Andy just pocketed his phone where he'd be looking up the Wikipedia entry.
No, I know,
you know what?
Everything.
That is a scurrilous accusation.
Who wants to know
the capital of?
Do you know what pi is to 36 places?
3.1 apple pie.
Brilliant.
Oh.
So it's a small studio.
They don't particularly like pie in Denmark, where they are based. They prefer an open sandwich, which I very much enjoy as well.
They like bacon as well.
I like it when it's got another piece of bread on top, though. But that's not exactly an open sandwich.
I like my fillings to be inside.
Ooh!
Just pulling it back.
Cornish pasty.
Yeah. What kind of fillings?
Oh, anything.
Spiders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, cogs. So in Limbo, it was about a 2-3 hour game.
Give or take, yeah.
And
I think if you knew all the solutions to the puzzles, probably like an hour.
Yeah, you could probably rush through it. And it was very...
You died a lot.
There were a lot of, I would say, unfair deaths.
Yeah.
And it was a very bleak premise, and it was also very vague as to what the story was. You're dumped in this world, you traverse the world, you get to the end, and then you think, what the hell was all that about?
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Well, I mean, a lot of these themes reappear in Inside, don't they? And it's almost, I feel like Inside is almost Limbo 2.0 in a way.
Inside feels a bit more like Limbo was much more kind of like raw. It was kind of like caveman-y, wasn't it? This is much more like industrial, isn't it? It's almost like an industrial world.
Yeah.
You know, that was when you were going into like kind of beasts and kind of cavemen almost, like when they were trying to trap you with their traps. Their bear traps was like a big thing. The deaths in it, actually, as much as it annoys you dying, sometimes it is quite funny when he gets his little head lopped off.
They're really gory, which again is another similarity with Inside. And also, like going back to the cavemen, it feels like that world was populated by children, doesn't it?
Well, it was
like Lord of the Flies type.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly.
But it was supposed to be like the afterlife, wasn't it? Almost like the story of Limbo was supposed to be he was trying to find his little sister or something. Although I'm not sure how that story really. Maybe they released it with press releases or something, because during the game it's not all that apparent, and that's what you're doing for the most part of it.
It's one of those stories, actually, in a weird way, where I don't really want to know like what it's about. I like the interpretive element of it, and I think that's what they kind of nailed, isn't it? You know, you look at some of the, I suppose that Denmark's got a long history, hasn't it, with Hans Christian Andersen, like going back to these kind of weird, slightly the Brothers Grimm tales that have got kind of a message in there, but it's a little bit oblique and it's also quite dark. You know, it's obviously cold there a lot of the time, and they've got the kind of this sense of gothic sort of, and it is really like. I mean, I think you wouldn't let a kid play this necessarily.
Much like you wouldn't let a kid read the Grimm tales unedited. Have you actually sat down and read some of the original stories?
Awful, aren't they?
They are. I've got like a anthology at home, and some of them, obviously, there's the famous ones. But there's also ones that are like half a page long, which says, one day a mother baked a pie that was too hot, so her baby died. And that's like, what's the takeaway from that? I don't know what do you want to do with that?
What's the causality as well? Like, isn't pie? No wonder they don't like pies in Denmark. Fucking hell, there we go.
Oh, God, we've come full
Jesus,
circle.
fucking
Like
hell, I think we should end. Because
like a cold coleslaw.
Like a circle in a circle, like a wheel within a wheel.
So Inside is. So Limbo was a little bit rough around the edges in terms of the way it's sort of controlled, and it was good, but not as tight as games can be in their control schemes. Whereas like Inside is, like you were saying, it's kind of Limbo version 2. Everything feels tightened up in terms of the way it controls and handles, but the essential storyline is kind of the same as Limbo, where you play a young boy who starts out. There's no real explanation for why you're suddenly there and being pursued immediately by people.
Yeah.
And as in Limbo, all you kind of really do is go right until you hit a block, then you go left a bit, find a crate or something, and then go right again.
It's a side scroller, isn't it? And it's designed as sort of simple puzzles and all that kind of stuff. And effectively, this would be a platformer, wouldn't it? In the olden days. Now it's, I don't know what I even would call it. Indie
Emotional.
Game. Emoticon. Teary-eye.
Emoji-form.
Emoji-form. Form of pie.
How long before game reviews are just emojis?
Oh, yeah.
I think Kotaku does that already.
Really?
No, they don't.
Cry face.
They'll be the first, though. Yeah, crying face.
That kind of laughing cry face, that footballers always use. I'm not transferring to so-so. Crying face.
It'll just be one of those stinky poos.
Yeah. Poo emoji.
No Man's Sky poo.
I didn't rape her in a hotel room. Cry, poo face. Okay, that's not about anybody in particular. But I think what it really, both these games nail is the fact that it's simple puzzle solving. It's nothing too taxing, but the atmosphere is really engrossing, isn't it? It's like. It feels like a real kind of spooky, strange world. And I think particularly Inside had a palette which was very much like black and white noir. Limbo had a palette that was black and white noir. Inside, it's more... There's splashes of colour. It's a bit more rounded.
It looks like Nighthawks, doesn't it? Is it Hopper, isn't it, the artist?
Do you know what... do you ever play that game which was
colours.
When you played a guy... I think he was trying to escape a kind of sort of zombie horde, but it was a 2D scroll. Deadlight.
I did play that, yeah.
It does look like Deadlight. And it actually, when I was playing through it, I thought, this feels really familiar. And actually, when jumping through the buildings, That felt exactly like Deadlight.
There's another good game like that, War of the Worlds. Have you played the 2D platformer of War of the Worlds?
Wasn't that supposed to be bastard hard?
It was, but it was also pretty good.
It also got removed from the store. Yeah, like you can't even get it anymore. So
I've got it on my old trusty 360. There you go.
can sell
It's
it
a
for £1 million.
collector's edition. I've got that, and I've got the what's it called? PE? Whatever. What's it?
PT.
What the hell? PT? Yeah.
PE.
PT demo.
Physically, I'll be skins, you be shirts.
Nobody wants
I have
that.
to wear my underpants. I've got my shawl.
My friend Margaret hates War of the Worlds. Like, literally, she's almost got a phobia.
Really?
So
Do you ever phone her up and go, ooh la?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll text her the lyrics of the songs.
Excuse me, what are the chances of anything coming from Mars?
Yeah.
I think you'll find they're 1,000,000 to 1.
Yet still they come.
She's like,
Do you know what? I've never met her, but I've got no time for Margaret because
Yeah.
I think it's bloody brilliant.
well, she's one of my Facebook friends, so if you want to send her some lyrics,
I will do that.
a snippet.
I will do that.
Of David Essex.
Dun, 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 dun.
Forever young.
So
That's not right.
I think it's David Essex.
So get back on track.
It was
Forever
Jeff
Autumn.
Wayne.
Yeah, Jeff
Forever
Wayne.
Autumn, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it David Essex singing?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Was it? Oh, God.
It was, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Possibly.
My memories of that is my dad had the vinyl, and I remember like looking through all the colour book. Like it was like a massive, Jeff Wayne's
They
thing.
did a thing with like Liam Neeson in 3D, was it, or something? Do you remember like the stage show?
Yeah,
and he was
vaguely,
like,
a few years ago.
he obviously couldn't afford for him to go on the show, so they 4D'd him in or something like that.
Hologram. Michael
Yeah.
Jackson moonwalking.
He just wanked off. Do you know?
He just got a phone call and was like, "You have my daughter."
Has anybody watched what Liam's doing? Because this is not what we asked him to do.
It was like that footage of Dirty Den dressed as a pirate having a sly wank.
Oh, yeah.
Did no one check this footage?
That was in the paper, wasn't it? Or was that? What was that?
Yeah, it was in the paper. He got caught out by some journalist
That was
wanking
ages
on a
ago.
webcam.
There was also an RTS of War of the Worlds on the PC.
I thought you could say of Dirty
Yeah,
Den
Dirty
wanking.
Den wanking.
Quick time events ahoy. So anyway, where the hell were we were talking about video games, weren't we?
What is this War of the Worlds chat?
I'll tell you what, we should do a podcast on what it was.
I do other podcasts as well.
Other podcasts
I've still
are
got the
available.
RTS on CD.
Really?
PC CD-ROM.
So
All
I think
the
that probably bizarrely sums up our summary of what Inside is. We've covered Dirty Den, self gratification, but yeah, so it's basically a kind of gothic, bleak 2D indie side-scrolling platformer.
And so what, you start out, you might have to remind me, Andy, because you've started it more recently, but you start out and you're basically just running, there's people with searchlights trying to get you
I'll tell you
out
what,
straight away.
It starts
People with
in
flashlights.
exactly the same way as Limbo, which is you sort of scurrying down an incline.
Oh, it does, of course, it
Yeah.
does, yeah. Except on Limbo, I think if you turn left straight away, there's a secret.
There's an Easter egg if you go left.
But on Inside, there's not, is there?
No.
'Cause I tried.
Yeah.
I think he was looking in the woods for pornography, which is what we all do. you
Well,
know.
back when we were kids, that was the only way you could get it.
Yeah. Nowadays, though, I mean that's dead, isn't it? That's gone. That's gone.
Salad
I remember
days.
on a cross-country run, we found a porn mag at the start of it, and that was the best cross-country run I think I've ever seen. We very much enjoyed that. But yeah, so Inside, it was an Xbox exclusive for
About a second.
Yeah, not long.
About 4 days.
It's now on PS4 and PC. It's always been on PC, hasn't it?
These exclusives, what does... I mean, like, the Witnesses are now out on Xbox One, and what does it...
Firewatch, I think, has made
It's
the
just
move
so...
as well.
It's so anti-consumer.
It's getting a bit ridiculous, isn't it, really? But they're so desperate to pull one either side, aren't they?
But I think it plays against them. When you look at something like the Tomb Raider
Tomb
game,
Raider is
which
the
is
best
coming out
example.
on PS4 after a year, I feel like their moment in the sun has been and gone.
Tomb Raider's essentially been forgotten about twice now. That's what
Exactly.
its record is. It came out on the Xbox One and there was better stuff, and now it's come out on the PS4 and there's better stuff.
Yeah.
It's never found that window.
But if it had come out on all platforms at once, I'm sure it would have done a lot
because
better.
Uncharted 4 got delayed, so it would have filled
Yeah.
that space. Whereas now, if you're going to go down if you go to the shop and you're like, well, shall I buy Tomb Raider or Uncharted?
But that's almost understandable for a AAA title, but no one's going to buy a console for one indie game.
Yeah.
So why do it?
That's it. Just as a side point, like, you know, the crafting stuff. I was watching some of that Days Gone stuff I told you about, and you see in that demo, he goes into the truck and he gets a can and he sticks it on the end of a
I
gun.
think we talked about that
He
at the
makes
time.
it
Yeah,
makes a
silencer.
silencer.
Yeah, that's how you make
It's like-
silence.
That's how that
as
works.
opposed to-
That doesn't sound.
Well,
and it fits like a glove.
A tin
literally.
can?
It literally fits like.
Well, because
that
no, you
with a
get
glove.
something out of a car bonnet.
Is it a
He's obviously
muffler?
on it. And he, I don't know what it is, but he gets something out of the car
like a
bonnet
paint
and goes,
can,
"Oh,
isn't it?
I'll just fit this to my gun."
That sounds
Yeah.
like it would make it louder to me. That's a loud.
That
Maybe
sounds like it
maybe
would
it's
make the
the
gun
muffler.
explode in your hand.
What's the muffler? That sounds like it would deaden
Well,
the sound.
yeah, I mean the name implies that, but
It's got
I don't think it's made to fit onto the end, like just to screw onto the end.
yeah,
of the
they don't.
hand.
The connections are completely different.
Yeah, what is
my
all that
favourite
shit
was
about?
the Last of Us. I've made a remote
But at
line.
least they made an effort of having to go and get some sugar or whatever the fuck it was. And there was sometimes there was a bench, and maybe Joel had gone to Gun 101 school. Or
Well,
something.
the good news
Yeah.
is there's no crafting inside.
Yeah.
is
No.
there?
If you're a fan of crafting, leave now. Actually, don't. We need the viewers.
Viewers?
So,
God, are they watching us as well?
yeah.
Should have put some more pants on.
We're just going back to the thing about why make Inside exclusive. I think it's purely for the show reel at E3. So you can go, we've got this extra game, and it's Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, and to be fair,
Yeah.
it did work. I don't own an Xbox, but when I saw that it was Xbox exclusive, I did think, well, that's a massive bummer
Yeah.
because I really want to play it. And then, what was it, a month down the line? They said, PS4 as well.
Yeah. So it is show exposure, isn't it? But it's also about kind of making a statement to. We've got X number of exclusives.
My
anyway, you
cock
can-
is bigger than your cock, basically.
Oh, well, that's
That's a different
that's a
podcast.
bold statement.
Yeah.
We will be quantifying that by the end of the podcast.
We already have, and you know.
Doing a side by side.
That was the initiation for the podcast.
You start. I mean, we might as well go into the positives of the
Whee.
game. But you start the game and you're instantly being pursued, and obviously one of the biggest positives of the game is like the atmosphere, and it really instantly hammers into you. And from that point on, it's relatively relentless in the way the game's like claustrophobic. It's on top of you. You're being chased constantly. You never really feel like you're safe. There's little tripwires and stuff just waiting to trip you up and literally make you
Yeah.
die in horrible ways. And
I think that might have been my first death, was a tripwire. Because one of the things, this is, I guess, well, I'm going into negatives already, so I'll skip that. But yeah, I think, like, talking about the atmosphere, I feel like this game lives and dies on the atmosphere. Because if you strip that away, like, in terms of the platforming and puzzles, it's quite basic, really.
oh yeah, definitely.
But the dressing around it is spectacular.
You
I
say
think.
that, I mean, like, there was a few times where I was sort of scratching my head going, okay, what do I need to do here? Particularly, I think what Limbo and Inside do really, really well, and from now on they're just the same thing, but what they do really, really well is the puzzles when they have calculated just enough time. And there's a few times when I went, that's not possible.
The early
Yeah.
dogs puzzle is
The dogs,
the
I
best
mean,
one.
so you're being pursued by man and beast, so these dogs are coming at you, and yeah, you're absolutely right, so they really make use of those early on. I was saying to you earlier, Andy, I always felt like I just had milliseconds to get away from them, and like you say, there were times I thought, I'm not going to make this. As I was running towards the edge of the cliff, I thought, I'm not going to make it, but you just get there in time.
Or something happens, like a door shuts just
Yeah.
at the right moment. I mean, this is what I was saying when it's been like refined. It's kind of like the perfect version of what Limbo would have been if they'd have had the experience of making a game like Limbo. So this is a natural evolution of their craft, I suppose.
And you feel very satisfied when you work out what they want to do.
There's a lot of
what they want you to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of aha moments. Aha! But where you'll approach a puzzle and think, I'm completely stuffed, and then a couple of minutes later, there's that sort of natural realisation. Oh, I get it now. And that's really
That's what's clever about it.
Yeah, that's really rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
And
yeah.
the way they reintroduce things you've seen, but in subtly different ways. So there's like the blocks that fly when you pull that, kind of like a lawnmower handle. You kind of pull it, or a chainsaw handle. You kind of pull it to start the blocks, and then they fly up to a certain height. And at first you just use it, and it flies up to the certain height, and then you jump off, and that was the puzzle. And then later in the game, there's like so many different ways you've got to pull the blocks, move them around subtly, get one on top of another, these kinds of things, and they kind of build on it and build on it and build on this one theme, and they do that through multiple themes throughout the game, and it's just really clever that way, so throughout you're learning and learning and learning, and it's all honing you into being able to solve these quite tougher puzzles later. I mean, the puzzles are never, like, I've been playing the hell out of The Witness, and that is like door slammed in your face hard. This is organically hard. I don't think there's anything that you would ever not be able to solve with a bit of, like, I don't think there's any puzzle in this game that anyone will be stumped on forever.
No.
Whereas in The Witness, that's
You've got to have a good sense of timing. You've got to have a good sense of, like, dexterity sometimes, just to say when, especially with the shall we say, an enemy in water.
Okay, yep.
Well, we can talk about the little guys. You will experience mermen or sea devils or
For
something.
me, it looks like the woman in the ring. You know,
Doesn't it? Yeah.
And I think the timing there, you've got to be, and that is really tense. You're just like, oh god, this thing.
Yeah.
But you've got to it's really tense, and it really creates that tension in yourself. But and with the dogs as well, you've got that this is going to be, you're going to be right on the wire with the timing, and they do that so well. I actually think they did that more frequently well in Limbo than here. I think they've slightly dialed it down a little bit. Whether they're going for a broader audience, I'm not sure.
I think they probably are, because they know that they're going to get that broader audience now, because they did Limbo already. The other massive improvement, Limbo was a good-looking game, but inside I think it's the animations.
Yeah,
they're so spot on throughout the game.
Yeah.
The way the lad that you're controlling moves is just kind of perfect. The way he'll react brilliantly to loads of different things that happen to him, whether he's dying or whether he's just hit a wall or some weird little. And the animations are so specific and so kind of perfect to that moment. They must have all been crafted individually almost. It's brilliant.
Definitely. I love the bits where you're doing the mind control,
the helmets.
It's so good. And as you say, you at first, we were saying earlier, weren't you? You almost fear those dudes. You're like, oh god, and then you realise actually they're part of the thing. And the first time you realise that you're jumped in a little thing and you're controlling them, it's like, oh, that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, just for anyone who's not played Inside, so it's a really weird game. There's really weird stuff going on in this universe, parallel world, or whatever that you're in. And a big part of that is there are a load of people in this facility that you're infiltrating.
Yeah.
And they're not able to control themselves. It seems that they have no mind or something. We're being attacked by children, by the way. That's not us. It's not us doing things to children in the background.
Pray for us.
And what happens is occasionally you'll come across these kind of helmets and you can leap into them, and for some reason you can then just stick your head into these helmets and you can control. That makes you take over the bodies of these kind of strange people, which is one of the interpretations of the game's title, Inside, obviously. But there are many interpretations of that, as we'll maybe get to in a spoiler podcast later. But what happens is, like Andy was saying, so the animations, then you're kind of walking around, but as your little fella is walking in his helmet at the same time that the person's walking, it's really weird to see on screen, isn't it?
It's it's really cool, and there's a bit where you actually have to kind of mimic the movements that they do.
That's really
that's
good.
Great,
yeah.
isn't it, that bit?
And it's so clever, and the way that he's looking around to see if he's been caught. Movements.
During that sequence, if you're slightly out of time, you sort of raise suspicion, and the dudes in charge will look at you suspiciously, and that is really tense. Really well done. But going back to the animations, one of the things I really appreciated was, and this was the first moment where I thought these animations are spot on. So there's a lot of box puzzles, moving boxes around, as is the nature of these games.
Yeah.
So in most 2D games, you would approach the box from the left or the right and push it in profile. But in this game, you can actually grab things. How can I describe this? When you're in front of them.
Yeah.
So there's
on
that
an
sort of
angle.
second plane, and
it's like 2.5D almost or something.
And it's really organic, and the animations are just amazing. Everything felt really fluid, like going from one motion into another one. You always felt totally in control, which is something that in Limbo is a lot more floaty. I think you didn't have quite as much control.
For sure. The jumping system in Limbo is a lot less refined than it is in Inside.
Oh, definitely.
Everything about Limbo is slightly less. It's a great game, brilliant game, but it's all slightly less refined. And weirdly enough, that sometimes gives Limbo the slight edge over Inside, because Inside almost telegraphs what it wants you to do a bit too much by being a little bit too refined. But we'll get back to that in the negatives.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. But I think. There was a bit where, you get the submarine thing, and I was going down there, and I just you just stopped and thought, it's fucking great. This is a video game, isn't it? It's this is so unusual and distinct, and slightly anarchic and slightly twisted and weird. And imagine pitching it to some jaded publisher. And you imagine, like, wow, that's fucking amazing that someone's actually made this.
I can imagine in that meeting the publisher would be saying, so what on-screen prompts have you got? Because obviously people who play games are stupid. And then you'd be like, well, nothing. You just got to work out.
And there's a princess at the end that you're rescuing, right?
Oh boy, quite the opposite, as it turns out.
And do you know what? I sometimes watch Dragon's Den, on BBC Two, and it's like you look at the ideas there and the way they approach the ideas, and a spectacular lack of vision that they have for these things. And I was thinking, like, okay, imagine if you went and pitched Facebook in there, right? And you said, yeah, here's a service, nobody pays for it, it's all free. And we're going to do this, and we're also going to pay $19 billion for a message service, and nobody pays for it either. No, they wouldn't even they would laugh at you out.
What would happen is Peter Jones would reach into his pocket and say, "You see this? This is an address book. This is all you need. I write down addresses. That's everything I need to contact people. Yeah. Get out.
Yeah. Here's my Nokia phone from 10 years ago.
I can play Snake on this.
Mobile phones are probably the same, aren't they? I mean, they would have gone like, well, I've got a phone at home. I mean, like, I stuck with Downton Abbey long enough to see the bit where they install the phone into their house. And they're like, I don't see the need for it. I just don't understand.
But I can remember when they put cameras on phones, but we're slightly digressing here, but they put cameras on phones, and it was just like, at the time it felt like, wow, this is like a bonus feature.
What was the war like, Andrew?
Well, I can remember when they were rationing, and all we had to eat was pig anus.
But it does seem like Playdead are a studio that do what they want, and they're not hamstrung.
That's the beauty of being your own studio, isn't it? It's like the perfect example of an indie studio. And the even better thing for them is they made Limbo. They took all the money and the plaudits from that, and they've driven it into making a game that's better in most ways. I'd say certainly. Yeah. I mean, they can stand proud of go look at Inside, look at Limbo, look at the progression. I'd argue that their next game probably needs to be a step in a different direction for them to carry on going. But
I don't know. I'd play a Inside 2 or whatever variant of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine them doing something so radically different to this. But
this is when you get into Hello Games territory, where you go from making Joe Danger to No Man's Sky.
You had to bring it up, didn't you?
Yeah. But I think that's true. That's true. I mean, I personally think it's fantastic what they're doing. I think they've created such a brilliant product. It's short, but it's so to the point. It's like it doesn't outstay its welcome.
What do you think of? Sorry to interrupt your flow, but what do you think of short games?
Oh man, the older I get, the more for them I am.
But do you? Because it's 15, 16 quid Inside.
Now this is what I was thinking.
Hey, bargain, Andy.
No, I'm actually going to surprise you right now. I actually think it's all right value because I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking you go to a stand-up comedy show nowadays, and I went to see Adam and Joe, not Joe, Adam Buxton. Is it Adam Buxton? And he had a load of comedians.
Super fan.
it was thingy. A load of comedians, and it was a really good show, but it was 30 quid for a couple of hours. And you think, okay. And then you think about a theatre thing, so it's 10, 20 quid, whatever, 30 quid.
And Blu-ray could be 14, 15 quid, you might only ever watch it once.
So they've put 3 years work into this probably, or something like that. You start to think, actually, do you know what, that's not actually that bad value. I mean, I can see the quality they've put into it and the love and care they've put into it. They've obviously really, really put a lot into this game and really cared about it and really been true to the vision and delivered something which plays well and feels really distinct. There's nothing specific. Well, there are games that are similar, but there's nothing particularly that's the same sort of mix of atmosphere and gameplay and blah blah blah.
I think
you're kind of do you know what, 15 quid of my money is kind of fair repayment for that effort and that kind of commitment.
I think, you're right. You're paying for that experience. I mean, I was thinking about the same thing. I always sort of balk at the idea of paying a certain amount for an indie title, which is something we've discussed in the past.
Yeah. The trouble with it is that if you're subscribed to PSN or Xbox Gold, you're always thinking in the back of your mind it's going to be free at some point. It's going to be free at some point.
But I mean, I sort of realised that I will pay 3 or 4 quid for lots of shit games, and if I just didn't buy those shit games and just bought the good ones for more money, overall I'd be much happier.
Talking of shit games, you know what I bought today?
Oh God, go on.
I bought this because it's on offer today. This is going to date the podcast or whatever. The season pass for Battlefront for 27 quid, I think it was.
What?
So I'm going to go back to Battlefront.
27 quid?
Reduced from 40, which it's always been until today.
Holy shit.
Are you insane?
Probably, yeah. I'm probably never going to use it either because I'm totally burnt out with playing many, many hours of Battlefront.
So what did you get with that?
You get all of the DLC basically. So it's like Bellspin or Bespin, I should say, and the new Death Star stuff that's coming out.
Oh, right.
And then I think there's some tie-in with Rogue One, and there's also Cloud City. No, that is Bespin.
Is there some VR stuff as well coming?
Yeah, and so that's because I've got PSVR on order. Hey,
Just going to drop that clang.
yeah. Clang. So I bought it thinking that might be part of that too, although it might just be a free demo of that, I'm not sure. But
Bellspin sounds like a sort of crap kitchen range, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's Bespin. Oh, the Outer Rim, that's what the
Bespin.
other one is. Bespin, the Outer Rim, Death Star, and the new stuff with Rogue One, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to keep us updated on whether that was good value or not.
I will.
I don't think there'll be any DLC for Inside.
No.
I can't quite... Actually, I can imagine where that would go, but...
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to talk about the ending and spoil it, but the ending is a little bit leaves itself to itself, really, a bit open to interpretation. And there is, to be honest, I thought I was going to be able to do something else, maybe, but I couldn't. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
So this brings us on to the negatives, which there are. I mean, we've all enjoyed the game, and we're all talking about it in a good light. But I think
in good spirits.
In good spirit, it does have some problems. Probably the biggest one of which is it's not that difficult to beat. Which I don't know. It's like 3 hours long, maybe.
I didn't feel it was... I don't think it was... The puzzles were as difficult as Limbo.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. It's weird because you compare in a way apples to oranges, but I suppose it's by the same team and everything. And Limbo definitely stopped my progression more often than Inside did. But whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's hard to know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I also felt like some of the puzzles... Like there are gravity puzzles, and I was playing those thinking, "Oh, it's like that bit in Limbo."
Yeah,
and there's a lot of similarities.
Brain control problems.
Exactly.
I think a lot of the time I wasn't working out the puzzles. I was thinking, "What do they want me to do?" And actually, it was almost. I know that sounds like the same thing, but it was almost kind of like, I know what they want to do. I know, and you almost see the developer in the corner going, and you go like, they want me to do this, rather than me going, okay, put this here, put this here, put this here. So I think it just didn't felt quite as, and I hate this fucking phrase, but organic as Limbo. It didn't feel quite as like I'm discovering it for the first time. It felt like I was rejoining an old experience, which is not very bad because that was a good thing. As I say, I think Limbo was rough and ready, but it was also quite charming in a way. I don't know whether I was always charmed by Inside. I was kind of like, I felt I was going through not the motions, but I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on exactly what it was.
It's like rather than enjoying the moment, you're just trying to get through it to see what the ending is.
Yeah.
Whereas in Limbo, maybe I was more enjoying the moment to moment.
I feel like Inside was more interesting in terms of what was coming next. I was always pushing forward to see, because I feel like in Limbo there were 2 or 3 main areas which were quite similar. You had the woods and you had this sort of industrial section in Limbo, but inside there were more. I felt like there were more areas, and I was always keen to see what was around the corner. Although it's all 2D planes, there's nothing around the corner. So what was dead?
We never did see what was around that fucking corner.
Yeah. But so that kept me going. There was always something interesting to look at the further along you went.
I think the same criticism of the first game. I mean, it gets you in a few cheap deaths, doesn't it? It gets you in a few cheap deaths. And if you are of the persuasion that you want to kind of get everything perfect, this probably is quite a frustrating game. Because I think I would be surprised if anybody, there must be someone in the world, has got through both games without dying once.
If there is someone who's done that, it's only because they played Limbo to death and they kind of know the language of it in advance. Because there are certain moments where you don't know necessarily something's going to happen until you walk past the point and then something comes and kills you. And you're like, well, I know not to go past that point now, but...
That's how it teaches you, isn't it? It's like a really aggressive stepdad who lets their son go to a lit firework and says, "No, Gene, he's got to learn."
Yeah.
And that's how it teaches you. It basically absolutely brutalises you and says, "Well, you'll know for next time."
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how. I don't think I died in that many sections, but I died in some sections repeatedly. Basically, like it's.
Yeah.
So like I got quite far until I hit a point where I died, and then I died in that spot a lot.
Yeah.
And then I moved on in the same, repeated that, and then got to another point and died a lot. Underwater fucking sections being the biggest for it.
Yeah.
They're my criticism.
Yeah.
I hated the underwater sections. I loved what develops in terms of the plot from the underwater sections. And this is the bit where you're swimming and there's this sea devil thing trying to get you. And the ramifications of what that is go all the way to the end of the game, let's say, which is brilliant and really interesting. But those actual sections were complete dicks. I didn't like them. I didn't really enjoy that bit.
I think, but was that not just the game being super effective at making you feel claustrophobic?
Maybe. Maybe I was just crack at that bit. I don't know.
Because I'm not a massive fan of underwater sections either, but I felt like they were quite fair. And the sort of, that sense of urgency and that sense of horror almost was really compounded by the fact it was underwater and you felt stress. This is a stressful game to play at times, isn't it?
It was like a bit kind of like a more refined Soma in that sense, wasn't it? Like it was actually more precise. And this is negatives, but it looks beautiful, this game. The lighting is so good, isn't it? The casting shadows, the little touches, the little like twinkles of light through the dust, and the way it builds that atmosphere is just so good. And obviously the character model and stuff, and also the dudes when you get them all together with the lift mission and
that's great.
With your little gang.
That was a standout moment for me.
And they all gather together. I don't want to spoil too much, but the way that all pulls together is fantastic. But I think I don't know. I think the problem with coming back to something which was successful is you automatically return with baggage, don't you? It's like people expect something of you. People expect it to be one thing. People have expectations that they didn't have before. Like no one had expectations of Limbo.
This game had the double whammy. It had that, and it had the unveiled at E3 Xbox One, spectacular thing. And so it had the two massive bits of hype to deal with. Which, in fairness to the game, it deals with both pretty well. I mean, it's better than I could ever have imagined that they would come up. Like, to beat Limbo, to make a game that's probably better than Limbo, I'd say, is like an amazing achievement, really. Okay, the technology's moved on by a notch, but really, Limbo is an inside. They're not pushing the boundaries in the technology.
Definitely.
So, I mean...
just as a side point on follow-ups, it'd be interesting to see where Camposanto go next after
yeah,
Firewatch.
with Firewatch. I mean, Firewatch has got surprisingly negative reviews in some areas.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have that same problem.
People really hate it.
And Jonathan Blow with Witness, before that Braid, he did. He's surpassed. And actually, in the way that he's done his progression, so Playdead have gone 2D to 2D, whereas he's gone from 2D to massive, expansive 3D game, that is more the journey that Hello Games have done. But he's done it a lot more effectively than Hello Games did.
It's always tricky, isn't it? Because you go from no expectation to now people are watching you, thinking about you, and thinking what's next. What you got.
It's a difficult second album, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's sophomore album.
And because gaming's so young, we haven't had that many cases of this, really. Not like. So this is the equivalent in the music industry of like a young startup coming through, like Oasis or something, who's like, they're not playing by everyone's rules. And then, I don't know why I said Oasis, because I'm from Manchester. But whatever. And
that's
then,
all he thinks about.
So this is their definitely maybe. But the trouble is, the next album is Stand By Me, which is a bag of shit. So Oasis got 2 albums in and then fucked up. Let's hope it's not the same for Playdead. You get 2 good games in, and then
it was definitely maybe. Then it was
What's the Story?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they got which was good, but then Stand By Me with the third album was. So they had, instead of the difficult second album, they had the difficult third
Just
album.
Be Here Now was the third album.
Yeah.
Call yourself Mancunian.
Be Here Now, yeah.
But one of the singles was Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Be Here Now.
You've got that wrong.
But it was all.
Oh, it was a long time ago. I'm very old.
It was all turgid shit. So it was really
Be Here Now is a terrible album name, isn't it? As well?
Not as bad as Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. No, Standing on the Shoulder of Giants. One single shoulder for multiple giants.
It's that's around £1 coin as well. You notice that?
But they got it wrong.
Yeah, he's standing on the shoulder of giants.
The sub was ill that day.
So the giants can't have one shoulder between them all.
They've just got one shoulder, singular shoulder.
Are you sure that's what is that what it says?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Noel Gallagher, if you are listening, ring us right now and apologise.
You know, he was like, "No, mate, it's shoulder."
It's only on the pork shoulder of giants, so like they're holding a pork shoulder. That could be possible.
Do you think, to get back to Inside, do you think there's one puzzle in Inside that's more memorable, let's say, than the spider bit in Limbo?
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of cards up its sleeve. Like, slight spoiler here, but one of them is it's not really a spoiler because it's quite vague without context, but the explosions section was really well done.
Yeah, what the hell was going on there?
Well, we'll never know.
I don't even we're not going to spoil we're not spoiling the end of the game. I've been to the end of the game and I still don't understand what that explosion bit was supposed to be. I've read the conspiracy theories and none of them tackled what that was.
But also the puzzle with the lift and all the guys where you've got to gather them all up. That was, for me, I had a massive grin on my face, that part. That was fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, but
none of it makes sense.
It's funny as well because they do that really well, because at that moment that's when the game starts to kind of unravel intentionally, which is really good. From that moment on, you're breaking the rules of the conventions of the game, really, instead of, because it sets it out in a certain way that you think it's going one way, and then it suddenly starts to kind of bridge out, and that's the point where shit gets real, basically, and more and more stuff starts happening you were not expecting, not counting on. Like, you know, it's a really clever game in that way.
Another puzzle which is right at the end, so I won't spoil it, but I'll just say it's where you have to juggle something to get it to a certain point, and there's a furnace involved.
Oh, yes.
And that was great. That was really the animation was actually, that whole ending section. The animation is amazing.
Yeah. Without spoiling, anyone who's finished the game will know what we're talking about. But yeah, that is the way that moves is incredible. Let's say, yeah.
The physics is really good, isn't it? Obviously, you've got
the physics of that as well.
A great engine at play, and I mean, I think none of these puzzles are going to keep you up at night, but they're good enough, and they give you a little bit of bite, bit of challenge. You got to think about. You do have to use your brain. It's not like you can just walk through it.
You've got to use your body and your brain if you want to win the game.
Well, I've been playing. I played Abzu and finished Abzu, and that literally had no puzzles. It tried to pretend it had puzzles. It didn't have any puzzles
That's
whatsoever.
basically Underwater Journey.
Journey, yeah. And Journey is probably more emotionally satisfying than Inside, I'd say. But Journey doesn't have any puzzles. You just walk through the game, really. And Abzu tries to copy that formula, but doesn't ever capture the emotion of Journey, which makes it a bit empty in the end, a bit pointless. But Inside, I think, has this nice mixture of, it's got puzzles, it's got the emotion, it's got the atmosphere, and it kind of delivers on all those three fronts, which does puts it near enough to Journey to be considered like one of those great indie games.
And you know what, I think it was the length was just about right. I mean, like, I don't think you'd want to play 9 hours of this. It would be utterly awful.
Well,
it's not Mario. It never will be.
It's like being stamped on again and again and again at times, isn't it?
I did feel that some of the puzzles repeated. I would get to a section and think, I just did this puzzle.
Yeah. And pull this lever, run around here, go back here, jump up here, pull the little thing box.
Yeah, for me the length was just about right, and I don't mind.
But they could have varied it up. I agree. Because effectively you got those boxes that fly up in the air. So you pull the little lever in it, pressurised box. You've got move a box to here. You got pressure switches
and the helmet of mind control.
Helmet of mind control. And actually, for a game that's 3 hours long, that's kind of quite a core. That's probably all the puzzles really.
It couldn't have been longer. But like we said earlier, I don't mind short games these days. I'm happy to take them. I'm happy to have an experience over a couple of evenings, rather than dragging through, X amount of hours.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is, some people want 200 hours, every single part of the game. I think most people just want quick, fun experience they can grab while they've got some time. And that's kind of what a lot, when you get a bit older particularly, what you like as a gamer, isn't it? It's really you just don't have the time to spend. I mean, I've probably put 60 hours into Fallout 4, but that's really unusual for me. Really, I would never. I put 40 hours into Metal Gear Solid, but all right.
The thing is, like,
disregard
some
those
games,
2 points.
Some games somehow demand your time and just steal it from you, don't they? Whereas most you just can't put that sort of time into them. Like, I've been playing one of the games we might be potentially doing a podcast of soon, Rebel Galaxy, which was free on PSN, and that's quite a big game. It's quite expansive. There's loads of missions to do, but I've kind of hit the kind of 8 to 10 hour wall where I'm like, probably put in a lot of time into this, and unless we commit to doing the podcast on it, that's probably all I'm going to put into that.
What do you think, guys?
Like Metal Gear,
let's put it out right now live.
Yeah. Rebel Galaxy is an interesting game.
What do you think?
Yeah.
This is not live, is it?
No, this isn't live. Oh, we're getting tweets now. We're not. Anyway,
tweet us, guys. Should we do Rebel Galaxy?
Shall we sum up? Or has anyone got anything else to say?
I think it's time.
All right, cool. Jack, to start us off then.
So I was looking forward to this game anyway, having played Limbo multiple times. This felt like it took Limbo and just basically refined it completely. It's a really satisfying experience, even though I've got no idea what the story was about. Realistically.
Yeah.
Is
that just because we're dumb?
I don't know. I mean, there are like Easter eggs you can pick up which extend the story.
I read about it. I've gone online after the event and read about it, and it's just people speculating. No one really knows.
But that's fine. That's part of the fun, really, isn't it? So, the game's absolutely gorgeous, and it kept me playing right into, I wanted to know what happened next, what was around the next corner. I think it's a brilliant game, and the price thing, we'll never agree on the pricing of indie titles, and it's a bit of a contentious issue, as we found in the past, but I think it's worth your time, well worth your time, so it's a continue from me.
Just before I get into my wrap-up, if you are interested in Return of Little Jack's Corner, which has gone through sheer laziness on Jack Turner's part, please tweet us urgently, because, with the hashtag #GetJackOn Metacritic.
Nobody knows what that was. Basically, it was me reading out bad Metacritic reviews.
I think we should bring that back.
Okay.
So get on that.
We'll do that for the next one.
So, team meeting over. Yes, it's a continue for me. I actually like the ambiguity. I don't really want necessary resolution. I love the fact that it's just really weird and a bit odd. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to go on a slightly left field tangent here. I watched Stranger Things, which everyone seems to absolutely go on about, and I think it's brilliant. I know you like it. I found it just too much. I found it just like it was trying too hard. This game, it basically says to you, you've got to try. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to give you nothing. I'm going to give you a very limited palette. I know you like
No. I was actually going to agree with you. Stranger Things was good, but it was too formulaic.
It was trying to be.
It was trying to copy all those 80s classics.
It was ticking boxes.
This just says like
too much. The next series won't be able to get away with that again.
Stranger Things wants to be the weird kid at school, but it's actually the popular kid. Inside has no qualms about being the weird kid at school. It just is the odd one. It's just odd. It's weird, and it's come to terms with that. It just doesn't give a shit, and I love that about it. I don't think it's quite as impactful as the first game. When I played through it, I didn't feel quite necessarily as kind of like it was fresh and unique. I definitely saw some hallmarks in the puzzles. It felt a bit more polished in maybe not so good ways in all the time, but overall, pick it up. It's brilliant. Play it. It's fantastic.
Yep, cool. I agree with much of what Jack and Andy have said. I mean, they basically it's a great game. It's a little like some of the puzzles are a little contrived, and if you played Limbo, you might have seen some of them before. And given that the kind of one of the things that kind of wrangles me about the game a little bit is that given the way that the scripting and the storyline and what can be said of a storyline at least is building towards this big moment at the end, some of the puzzles are really contrived throughout the game. It's like there's a lever, pull the lever, that's going to do that. Oh no, but didn't do it quite the right. Oh, you have to go and do this little thing and pull this little bit out first, and now you can pull the lever. And it's like that isn't how things work in life. But I suppose it's a game. It's got to have some elements of that. I seem to always complain about gamey elements of games.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just want a real life simulator. I don't know.
Please don't.
But I just go to work every day.
But
I don't know. There's just, for all its cleverness, there was something a little bit annoying at times. That the puzzles were like these completely mental puzzles that wouldn't really have happened in that way if it was a kid going through a real factory. But anyway, I digress a little bit there. But the game is stunning. It looks amazing. The animations are probably the best animations I've seen in a video game, to be honest. Can't think of anything that looks better pound for pound, as it were, really. Especially the way the main character moves, it's just incredible. And like the art design, and I hope that Playdead keep them coming, really. Although I'll be very interested, as we said before, to see what they do next. Will they do 2D or 3D? Who knows?
Can we see like Mario 64? Remember when Mario went into 64 world?
It feels like that's what some of these sort of indie developers, for want of a better word, they're building towards their Mario 64 moment, aren't they?
I don't know if they are. I feel like they're quite happy to stay doing 2D games. I mean, it's like, so we're playing Final Station at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's a 2D game, and it's in an 8-bit, 16-bit style.
Yeah, it's probably 16, I would say. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm starting to think that aesthetic is overused.
Well, yeah, because it's
the retro look.
What's it called? The pixel art.
Yeah.
I don't know.
With Limbo, it'd be dead.
But let's say if Limbo was their Mario 2, NES Mario, and inside is their SNES Mario, then I suppose that does mean their next game is their Mario 64. But we'll see what they do. It will be really interesting to see. I hope they stick together and don't fragment and go to different studios.
Well, according to Wikipedia, one of them's left, so...
Oh, really?
Shit. No! That's only according to Wikipedia, though.
Mind you, the same thing's happened at that game studio, and clearly the best people have kept there, because absolutely wasn't as good from Matt Navas, who left, so let's hope whatever they're doing is even better. So to wrap up, it is a continue from me, I presume. Is it also continue?
Yeah, continues all right.
Yeah. 3 continues.
Dave Whiteman is unfortunately passed away.
I do know that Dave would also agree with it's a continue.
Well, Dave, we spoke to Dave and he loved it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was really glad.
While he was flashing his lights in the car park at another car, for some reason we couldn't understand. He was semi-naked from the waist down. I don't know what was going on, but he was very much a thumbs up.
So there you go. So four, 1 virtual continue and 3 actual continues from Quit I'll Continue. So that leaves me only to say that next time out, I think just me and Jack perhaps will be reviewing The Final Station.
Yep.
And then after that, well, I don't know, we're going to have to decide what the hell we do next.
Yes, it might be Mafia 3.
Ooh, oh, God. It might
is
be
it?
Mafia 3.
Well, that's news to you and me.
50 English pounds on that, okay. Boys. That's not going to happen.
Wow.
And then maybe Dishonored after that. So, if you want to see what we are going to be reviewing next, you can check us out on Quit or Continue. There's a page there, there's a sticky page. Jack, don't make it sticky. Oh. Which you can see what we're going to be reviewing next. And obviously, if you want to tweet us about any of the games we're playing, to have your own comments read out on the show, then just tweet us at Quit or Continue, or mail. I think it's mail us at Quit or Continue if you want to email your thoughts. That only leaves me to say that I have been Mike Plant at Mike Plant GC. You have been Andy Lachlan
at Media Scribbles,
and you have been Jack Turner
at QLC Jack.
All right. Until next time. Continue.
Adios.
Bye.